get this shared out to the proper channels. I hope I'm live now. Again, it does not tell me. I've got to figure this software out a little bit better, or maybe the software needs to be the one that upgrades and works a little bit better. But am I live? If I'm live, drop something in the chat. I see myself on YouTube, see myself here on Facebook. Let's go ahead and share. Again, if you're here in the chat, say hello. As always, I've got a little bit of time to kill before people jump on the stream. So I'm going to tell you about our Closer Walk devotional series. These are devotionals my brother Joe and I do. It's 90-day devos. Each day has a scripture reading, a meditation, a discussion, and a prayer. My wife and I have been doing these at night. They're just very good 10 to 15 minute opportunities to get in the Word, and that is volume 1 I mentioned. It starts in Genesis chapter 1, keeps going forward. We are just about to publish volume 5 and all the way into 2 Kings. So if you want to work through the text, have some discussion with your spouse, with your family around the dinner table for family devos, whatever the case may be, I highly recommend our Closer Walk with the devotional series. Again, 90 days in each devotional, and you can get, as I said, 4 volumes now. Volume 5 will be out here in the next couple of weeks, so check that out. They're on Amazon. They're at Focus Press. They are pretty inexpensive. We've got a multi-pack at Focus Press as well, so be sure to check that out. All right. Good to see you guys. Leah says she's got her copy, and it's great, so thank you, Leah. Good to see you in the chat as well. All right, let's go ahead and get to today's stream. The topic of today's stream was given from a statistic I shared, and so I'm going to screen share it here. And let's see, that's not what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. And this was going around on X. I grabbed it and shared it. And it's one of those I looked at and I'm like, man, maybe I should have done my research a little better. I saw it attributed to the Institute for Family Studies. I could not find these statistics on there. They look a little extreme, but there is reason to believe they might not be that far off. But the Americans married by age 30 in 1975 was 91% of women, 81% of men. It has dropped to 25.6% of women and 16.5% of men as of 2025, according to this chart. Again, the data on this was a little bit murky. However, there was a Bowling Green State University chart. Let's see if I can get that to come up. There we go. That thanks to Caleb Westbrook for digging this one up. It has men aged 25 to 29, women aged 25 to 29. As of 2001, it said the percentage of married men was 23% by that age range, and percentage of married women was 32% by that age range. And so if you follow the decline there year over year, where it's declining about 2% a year, that would lead to similar numbers to what they claimed in that original data. So not good. Again, a very sharply declining marriage rate. A little bit more percentage of women married by group. This goes back to 2004, and it shows how much it has fallen off. You see in the youngest demographic, 20 to 24, it was about 25% were married by age 24. Now that is hovering around 11, 12% in that range. And on every age, it is dropping. Every age, it's coming down quite a bit. And so, again, more concerning data there. Another one just showing that fall off, again, 20 to 44. It was 57, 58% women aged 20 to 44 who are married. Now it is down in the 47% range. So, again, another fall off all the way up to age 44. Median age at first marriage in the U.S. For men, that has climbed from in 1950. Well, really, if you look a little bit into the 50s, that came down a little bit even more. So about 23 was the range for a long time, from the 1950s to the mid-1970s, and it started to creep up. Now it is over 30 years old is the median age of a man's first marriage. For women, it was right around 2021, again into the mid-70s, started creeping up to where it is now above 28 years old. That's a long time. That is a big difference when you're talking 7, 8 years each of a rise over the course of 70 years. And it's not so much just a course of 70 years, it is the course of history. This is very ahistorical to have people waiting that long to get married. And then more concerning with this, girls are now less likely than boys to say they want to get married. Percentage of 12th graders from 1993, 83% of girls said they wanted to get married at some point. That's down to 61%. That means 2 out of 5 high school seniors don't want, senior girls don't plan on getting married, don't want to get married. That doesn't mean 2 in 5 won't, but it's 2 and 5 don't want to as of age 18. With boys, look at that. It's hasn't changed that much. 76% in 93, down only 2% to 74% in 2023, which means they are highly outpacing girls. They are 13% more likely than their classmates, graduating seniors as of 2023, to want to get married. That's strange. I mean, that's kind of the trope of every little girl dreams of her marriage. Well, 2 out of 5 girls don't anymore, as of their high school years, and so strange things going on here. You can add to this why this one of the reasons why this matters is what it leads to demographics and population and the birth rate and all of those kinds of things. Now women don't want to have children as much anymore. 21% don't want children, 32% aren't sure. That's over half either don't want or are not sure if they want children. 1 out of 5 women ages 13 to 30 or 18 to 34 say they don't want children. That's bizarre. That's really strange. And then one more stat before we get into breaking this all down. The U.S. fertility rate has been trending down for decades. This is one that shows births per 1,000 women. It climbed to a high in 2007, a 2000s high of 69%. It's down to 53%, or not percent, 53 births per 1,000 women ages 15 to 44. Again, steep statistical decline in all of these places. So one of the questions that came up when I posted about this was, who cares? Like, what does it matter? Why do we care that people are getting married later and later? Why does this matter? Well, there's different ways we can go with it. Why is it happening, and why is it a bad thing? Let's talk about why it's happening. A few reasons why that is possibly the case. One is the economy, right? If you can't afford to get your own house, can't afford to get out of your parents' house, that makes marriage difficult. That makes it harder for young men to pursue. And so, with young women, a lot of times saying, I can't find somebody who's interested. I can't find a guy who it will provide. It's pretty hard for guys to get out there and make enough of a living to make that happen. So that's one of the factors. And that's one of those things why I'm interested in culture and politics and things like that, is we need to be creating a culture in which our children can support families, and we have one in which they can't. And the immigration policies and all those kinds of things that lead to this downstream effect of lowering marriage and childbirth rates, which are natural to human nature. I mean, it's part of human nature. These are things we need to reverse, and we need to think about how do we get these to be reversed. So the economy is one of them. Young men are we can talk about young men. There's a lot been said about young men and their need to step up and their need to take these things on. But as you see, young men do want marriage. Young men do want children. They are reversing things where they are now the ones above young women who want those things. Yeah, they need some help along the way. Yeah, they might need some more motivation or direction or whatever the case may be, but they are very much seemingly invested in having a family and doing these things that are part of their human nature. Women, on the other hand, and this was the other reason why this is happening and why it's concerning, feminism has told them off that later, get the career, get the experiences, get out there, go and do and have a good time, and then settle down. And this is one of those, my brother and sister-in-law got married pretty young. She had people, church ladies, telling her, no, don't get married. You're too young to get married. This is a common refrain, and I got other messages. I got comments. I've heard people say, yeah, our kids wanted to get married young, but we weren't sure about that, or we tried to discourage it, or told them go do X, Y, and Z. For why? Why? The reason why these numbers are changing is because of older generations telling them not to, and now young people aren't prepared for it. Again, young men can't provide, and girls aren't interested in those things, and so you end up with this kind of statistic with these things that are happening. And so those are a few of the whys involved, and some of them more understandable than others. The economics are hard. You do need to be able to provide for a family, and that is difficult in this day and age. But for young men, that needs to be a target of theirs. For young women, they need to be told this is a good thing to pursue. That's something that when you go to the church high school graduation party, the college graduation party, or whatever the case may be, they are not going to be given the advice, hey, really start praying for a family, praying for a husband, praying that you can have children. That's not on the radar. In fact, it's literally the opposite. Again, they're being told not to do these things. So let's get back to the other question that this brings up. Why? Why should they be told? Should they be told to pursue marriage? Why does it matter that that rate is going up? What are we supposed to take from this data? What we take from it is, well, there's a number of reasons why this isn't good. One is, if you look at 1 Corinthians 7, which let me pull up the old trusty screen share again if my software will let me. Let's pull up the scriptures this time. I've got 1 Corinthians 7 pulled up, where Paul is talking about marriage. And this is something that people often cite here, where he says in verse 7 of 1 Corinthians 7, "Yet I wish that all men were even as I myself am." Of course, we take that to mean single and or widowed. However, each man has his own gift from God, one in this manner and that, another in that. I say to the unmarried and to widows, that it is good for them to remain, or if they remain, even as I. But if they do not have self control, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. That's one of the issues here. The longer somebody goes along, the sexual temptation creeps up. That is an issue, and as we found out, not just for young men. It's an issue for women as well. So these are things that need to be dealt with. These are things why delaying it is not preferable, why delaying it is not the ideal. And so there's for that matter, that is part of what's going on here. Number two, the longer that it is delayed, the fertility rates drop for women, and so you'll see the childlessness. It's heartbreaking. I had a conversation with somebody about it just yesterday. It's very unfortunate, but the longer a couple waits, and especially with so many young women put on birth control in their teenage years, and then all those years of the hormonal effects that takes, and you already have dropping fertility in your 30s, then childlessness becomes an issue. And even if it's not an issue, then we're talking one or two child families, barely replacement rate. These are against human nature kind of things that have never been done before, and we're basically the first people who are trying to do these things, trying this out and seeing how it works. Well, we're also a very unhealthy people mentally, with the depression, with all of these things. Well, why? Well, because our purpose is wrong. And you can go all the way back to Genesis, and where marriage was created. It was because it was not good for man to be alone. In Genesis 2, verse 18. And so God creates out of his side, out of his rib, a helpmeet for him, a woman that he has his mission. She's to be there with them. This is human nature. And somebody's going to point back to 1 Corinthians 7, where Paul said, well, it's better to be remain as his. But he conceded right there, if not for self-control and all that. But what we also find here in Genesis is this is normative. Paul saying, well, you can focus more on the work of the Lord. That's great, but get married, having children is also the work of the Lord. This is also your human nature, and this is the direction most people are going to go. This is the direction most people want to go, because that's one of the other issues we run into is people think, oh, I've got time, I've got time, I've got time. And then your 30s hit and you desire a spouse, you desire children, but the pool is that much harder, that much shallower, that many fewer people. Again, the childbearing becomes more and more difficult the farther along that goes. There are these issues that come up, and now we've got people in their late 30s or into their 40s where these haven't happened. So in my post the other day where I was giving advice to graduates, one of the two things that I said was pursue marriage. Start looking early. Even if you're just coming out of high school, you might not be ready for that right now. Be working to be ready for that as soon as you can, because as mankind was built for this union and to build a family and to do the things that would support a family and build the kind of community that is good for the family, all of these things are downstream from taking care of those natural human tendencies that God gave us, which is to desire marriage and to desire children. And as we put that off, we're moving away from that. People would say, well, you can't bind that from Scripture. No, you can't bind that from Scripture, but you can look at nature. You can look at history. You can look at what it means to be human. You can look at, as God did with Adam there in the garden, bringing all the pairs of the animals together. Like that, the animals all had male and female. That we know God created them that way. There is a natural order of life that we are not pursuing when we have charts like that say people don't want to get married, they're putting off marriage, they're going through all of these things to not go down that road. It's really craziness to me how many Christians look at this and go, one thing's not, there's no better way of doing things. No, nothing is really different than another. It's just to each their own. There will always be people for whom marriage is just not, it's not appealing. It's not for them. It's not their way of life. There is that gift of celibacy that Paul again talks about there in 1 Corinthians 7. That's not going to be the majority of people. The majority of young women should find a, they should be looking toward marriage and children. The majority of young men, the overwhelming majority of both of these young men, should be seeking out the ability to have a wife and a family, and be seeking that wife. And so when we go this way, we end up with a lot of people not going down those paths, and then you end up with the fallout from that. And you can find people posting on message boards going, I was sold a lie. I was told go have fun. I was told you can always come back to it later. I was told all these things, and then you hit your 30s and there's fewer people, or it's people that have had a bunch of partners already, sexual partners. They've got this history, and you're told, oh, just overlook that. And like the baggage that's coming along, it's just not the same thing. And they're saying, look, I thought I could just have fun in my 20s and then settle down, and it doesn't work for a lot of people. And the people who will not talk about, hey, your human nature is to start pursuing this younger, are setting people up for that pain and that failure. It just because it does work for some people doesn't mean that that's normative or something that we should be pushing. The other side of this is when the church takes this posture of it is good for young people to get married, when they are leaving high school, when they're in their college years, when they're starting to get set up in the real world, we should be encouraging them towards marriage and children. We should be helping them in whatever ways we can. One of those things that the church needs to do a good job of is matchmaking. I know a lot of people find their spouse at Christian colleges, and I'm grateful for that happening. Not everyone's going to find a spouse at a Christian college, number one. Number two, we shouldn't have to take on student loans and all those things to find a spouse. Networking and thinking about these things and thinking about getting Christian young people together and around each other, and encouraging this and teaching the young men. I'm going to give a plug for the Godly Young Men podcast. They talk about these kind of things for young men, of like how to put yourself out there, how to go and find a godly young woman, and to move towards a relationship. Young men need that kind of guidance. But when we don't think this is an important thing, and when it's been put off for so long, and when it's well, maybe you do, maybe you don't, they don't know where to go. They're not sure what to do, and with this just strange male female culture that we're in, of girls not wanting to be married, not wanting kids, but also the just even asking, trying to have the conversation is twisted as harassment, and like things like that. That this insane world we live in, it's very hard. We need to be training Christian young men and Christian young women. This is something good for you to pursue, and this is how to go about pursuing it. But again, we do it's all the same. Whatever you want to do, in fact, don't get married. Put it off, go have some fun, and then settle down later. You end up with all of these negative effects. And so that was the original claim, or one of the questions, what do we make of this data? Well, what we make of this data is we are becoming less and less human all the time. That should be one of our biggest concerns in this day and age, in the AI age, in the age of, again, delayed marriage and delayed childbearing, and maybe not even wanting children and all that. These are things that from Adam and Eve, humankind has done, and now we're getting away from it, and we're living our lives on screens and in a fake, made-up world, and just not living for the kinds of things we were created to desire and to pursue. How's it working out for us? Are we happy people? Are we healthy, mentally healthy people? Are we a strong society? Are we grounded in the things that matter? No. And so you just go, well, what are the first principles? It's always when things start falling apart, what you should do is go back to basics. You go back to basics, you read the first 3 chapters of the Bible. That's your basics, right? And when you read those, you see this is a good thing that we need to get back to pushing parents toward. And so I'm going to speak just for a minute. I said we need to do a good job of helping the young people. We need to give advice to them and help train them for this, and tell young men they've got to be looking forward to providing for a family, telling young women they need to be looking for a husband and desiring children, and all those things. Yes. Now I need to speak to the older Christians. You need to be part of this as well. You need to be encouraging this. You need to be talking about the joys of marriage and not doing the old ball and chain thing. You need to not be saddling young men with a negative view of marriage that says, happy wife, happy life. Just say, yes, dear, and I'm sorry, and that'll keep her happy. And no, that's got to stop. We've got to stop telling the young men or young women, ew, no, this is a burden, this is something you don't want, and you got to do the have it all attitude. No, this is a blessing for men and for women, and we need older Christians asking young people, not, oh, well, where are you going to travel? What experiences are you going to do? What are these big career goals? Like, hey, so when you getting married, that kind of thing, the teasing, but also from a loving place of helping them. And hey, I want to see you happy in the way that I'm happy, because this is good and this is a blessing that God designed us for. It's not this neutral thing. Well, if you want to, great. No, we've got to be thinking in those ways and bringing people together and pushing these kinds of things. So why does it matter? It matters in so many ways. Like, you don't have a civilization if you don't have man and woman coming together, committing to each other in marriage, without the divorce rates, without the cohabitation, without the fornication, without all of the things that we're seeing that have brought marriage down, and without the disdain for children, without the it's, you can have more fun in life if you don't have kids, without any of that kind of language. That's another thing. Older people, and people who have kids, stop talking about kids like they are a burden. I got a bunch of them. It's difficult. It's costly. It's the greatest thing in the world. It's something that we should be encouraging young teenage boys, young teenage girls. Hey, you're going to want a family. You're going to want kids. You're going to want to make little people who look like you and raise them and train them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Teach them, train them in the way they should go, and just have the joy of seeing a human little person that you brought into this world. What's all the things that we have sold out for that, and to traded that for, are so ridiculous. And yet you just, when a woman, even when a young woman, when they hold a baby, they understand, hey, there's something natural about this. There's something good about this. When a young man has a wife and a baby and he thinks, I've got to be a man, I've got to protect them, I've got to provide for them, I've got to care for them and all. This is nature. This is how it works. And it's so funny. There's so many podcasts where they'll talk about evolutionary psychology, and everything they're talking about is these gender norms that are baked into the human wiring that God gave us, and going, man, women are happier when they stay home and have kids, and they're married and they stay home and have kids, and men are happier when they, all these things. Boy, this is just evolutionary psychology. We evolved to have these things from our animalistic natures. Like, no, you've got the principles right, but we didn't evolve. God created this. He wired this into us, and now you've got Christians going, no, it just doesn't matter. That's if you want it, great. If you don't, no. Nature is telling us these things, and it's okay. This is a very basic biblical doctrine. You have special revelation, which is the Bible, and you have general revelation, which is nature. Look all around you. Look at nature. It tells you that waiting until 30 years old to get married is not natural. So let's encourage young people, to the people that have not been blessed to find somebody, that have not been blessed with children, all that. We should pray for these people. We should pray with these people. We should be looking out for these people and how we can help these people. This should be a goal of the entire church. And I think it's a very telling, it's a strike against us that we are not doing that. In fact, we're going the opposite direction. So that's where I'm going to wrap for today's stream. I want to thank everyone who tuned in. Leave a comment, agree, disagree, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you may be. But this is something I'm very passionate about. I think the answer to all of our problems is getting back to the Christian household. That's, you have to rebuild from the ground up, right? You have to rebuild the foundation, and we don't even care about the foundation. It is full of cracks, and we're going, well, if it wants to be full of cracks, that's fine. It's not fine. That's where we need to rebuild everything that we're interested in. Everything that really matters starts with a Christian man loving his Christian wife, and them loving their Christian children together as they love God and serve him. So that's where I'm going to wrap once again. Be sure to subscribe at jackwilkie.co. You'll get all the latest. I'm doing these videos every week now, doing podcasts, doing articles. I got some more interviews coming up I'm looking forward to. So there's always something. I know you guys probably don't get to all of them. That's just fine. I appreciate everyone who tunes in, who comments, messages. Always great to hear from you guys. Be sure to, again, be subscribed over there, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one.